What would you do with the characteristic of unstoppable determination? Imagine what you could accomplish. You would be unstoppable. What a wonderful thing to grow and to foster in your life. Hi, I'm Michael Reeves, creator of the program Shifting Problems into Power, Creating Unstoppable Determination. Today, I'm going to share a story from my childhood about the creation of unstoppable determination. Each of us have stories from our childhood. Either those stories are empowering, which help us create unstoppable determination, or they were disempowering and created this fear of obstacles and setbacks and challenges. They created limiting beliefs and false assumptions about opportunities that were out there. We saw problems as something to be avoided rather than a gift. We didn't see the opportunities within those problems. We just saw pain and rejection. When I was 10 years old, I wanted to earn some extra money. So I went around to some neighbors and said that I was willing to pull some weeds for them. I lived in a neighborhood where people had about half-acre sized lots, and it was in Southern California, and there was a lot of weeds that seemed to always grow. And they were pleased to have somebody come and pull the weeds. So I came on the first day, and I brought my own grocery sack. And I said, I will fill this grocery sack with weeds for 50 cents. And they were excited about that because it was a nice sized sack. So I went through their yard and I pulled only the biggest weeds I could find. That's all I pulled was the biggest weeds because my objective was to fill the grocery sack as quick as I could with weeds. And it was jam-packed with big weeds. Knocked on the door. I filled up the sack with weeds. They looked at that. Wow, that's fabulous. Boy, that's worth 50 cents. I came back the next week with my sack, and she said, Michael, I kind of walked around the yard, and I noticed that you only pulled the big weeds. You left all the other weeds. So instead of paying you to fill up a sack of weeds, I'm going to pay you by the number of weeds. So I'll pay you so much per weed. I thought, okay. I went home and got my cultivator. And I cultivated all the ground where all the small weeds were to break up their roots. And then I quickly pulled all the weeds out and put them in stacks of 100. Pulled 300 weeds. Knocked on the door. Hey, I pulled 300 weeds. Fabulous. She paid me the money. Came back the next week. She said, it was a funny thing, Michael. I walked around my yard and you only pulled the small weeds this time and you left all the medium-sized weeds. So instead of paying you by the volume of weeds that you pick or the number of weeds that you pick, I'm going to pay you per hour. All of a sudden, an entrepreneur was born that day. I worked for an hour pulling weeds and I thought, where's the incentive? Where's the incentive to work extra hard? I'm only going to be paid for an hour if I slack off or if I work hard. Now, I was a hard worker and I accomplished a lot within that hour, but it wasn't motivating for me. I realized that I wanted to be rewarded for the amount of work I did. And if I was only going to be rewarded for an hour of work, no matter how hard I worked, that wasn't going to work for me. I wasn't going to be a very good hourly wage employee. I wanted to be an entrepreneur. That next week, I was at the swamp. I'd given up pulling weeds. I could see there was no future in that for me. At the swamp, there was frogs to be collected, and there were tree forts, and we built some rafts to go out in these ponds. And it was right next to this exclusive golf course, and there was a big fence in between us. On my way out, I saw a boy about 2 years older than me, and he had a handful of muddy golf balls. And he was talking to the golfers, and he was selling them golf balls. They each bought one of these muddy golf balls for 2 bits, which was 25 cents. And 25 cents was a lot of money in 1964 when I was 10. Gasoline was about 29 cents a gallon. A loaf of bread was about 21 cents a gallon. So making 25 cents for a golf ball that you found in the swamp was a pretty good way to make some extra money. I instantly saw that I could market the balls and I could present them a lot better than this other young guy. So I went back into the swamp and I collected a bunch of golf balls. I brought them home. I washed them up. I polished them. I asked my dad for an old cigar box that had green felt in it. It looked like the balls were on grass. I lined them up in there. 12 of them fit perfectly. I put all the brand names up. I had a lot of Titleist and Spaldings. And I came to the golf course the next morning. First group of golfers came. I said, "Good morning, guys. I've collected some balls from the swamp and I'm selling them for 2 bits." Came over to the fence, brought my box up, slowly opened up the lid. "Wow, this is a great presentation. Is your dad in marketing?" They kind of laughed. They took a look at the balls. They each bought one. I made $1 in a matter of minutes. I was on to something big here. Next group of golfers came, gave them the same pitch. "Hey guys, I've collected some balls from the swamp. That's as far as I got." "Who said you could sell golf balls here?" "I'm not sure it's legal to sell golf balls here." And I thought, well, I didn't. Nobody told me I could sell golf balls here. It's not on golf course property. Well, we're not interested in taking a look at it. Rejection. Very powerful emotion for a 10-year-old, even for a 50-year-old. Closed up my box and I walked home. About an hour later, my mom found me. "How'd it go at the golf course?" Well, the first group of golfers were really excited about the balls and they each bought one. I made $1. I showed her my 4 quarters. "Wow, that's fabulous." But then the next group of golfers, they weren't very happy with me. They said I didn't have a right to sell golf balls there. They were kind of crabby. You know what? So I just came home. I think I'm giving up on selling golf balls. My mom was quiet for a moment. She said, "How did it feel when you sold those 4 golf balls and made $1?" "Well, that felt great." "And so do you expect that every golfer is going to want to buy balls from you?" "Well, I guess I hadn't thought about it. I guess not, no." "So those 4 golfers, how true do you think it is that you can't sell golf balls there?" "Well, I don't know. Maybe it's not that true. Maybe they were just having a bad day." "Yeah, I think they were probably having a bad day. Tell you what, instead of your primary focus being selling golf balls, how about if you tell jokes?" "Like golf jokes?" "Yeah, like golf jokes." "Well, how am I going to make any money doing that?" "Well, you tell the jokes and you develop a relationship with the golfers and you just tell them, "Hey, I'm selling some golf balls too." But your primary focus is to tell them a joke. And then you're selling golf balls. "Well, I don't know any golf ball jokes." "Well, why don't you go next door to Mr. Thompson? He knows a lot of golf jokes. I heard some of his jokes at parties and they're really funny." Okay. That next day, I went back to the golf course. I had a little bit of fear because rejection is a pretty powerful motivator not to go back somewhere. But I wanted to create unstoppable determination. I didn't realize that at 10 years old, but that's what I wanted to do. First group of golfers came up and I said, "Hey guys, why do they call this game golf?" They had some answers about Ireland, a family named Golf, and things like that. And I said, "No, because all the other 4-letter words were taken." And they laughed. And I said, "Oh, I'm also selling some golf balls that I've collected in the swamp." Came over, take a look. They bought 2. Next group of golfers came, told them another joke, and they laughed. I told them about the golf balls. And they didn't need any golf balls. I was fine. I was dealing with rejection. That's kind of how it went. I probably sold golf balls to every 1 out of every 4 group of golfers. That was okay, but they all enjoyed the jokes. And they were going to remember me next time too. And if they needed a ball, they were going to remember that I was going to be there. I was going to have a joke, but I also was selling golf balls. So I was developing a relationship. And when they needed my service, I was going to be there. Well, eventually on that day, the crabby group of golfers came. I thought about just closing up my box and heading home before they made it to the tee. But I thought, no, I can't do that. I need to face this foe. I need to create unstoppable determination, or this was going to affect me the rest of my life. So I told him a joke, and the joke I told him, it was Sunday morning, and I said, "Who said the only place my prayers are never answered is on the golf course?" They didn't know. I said, "Billy Graham." I didn't know who Billy Graham was, but they got a big kick out of that, and obviously they weren't at church on Sunday morning, and neither was I. And so I did this for the next 4 or 5 weeks. I'd see this group of golfers. I would tell them a joke, but I would never offer the golf balls to them. I just thought, you know what? I don't need to do that. They've already told me they're not interested. But by the 5th week, one of the golfers came over. He says, "You always tell us a joke, and I know you're still selling golf balls, but you never offer them to us. Could I take a look?" And I said, "Sure." So I brought my box up. He says, "Well, you got some really nice Titleists in there." That's my preferred ball. I love that ball. 25 cents, huh? Tell you what, Sunday mornings at 9 o'clock, I tee off. Every Sunday morning, I'm here in the parking lot. I'll buy every Titleist you collect. 5 for $1, so I want a discount because you don't have to stand here at the fence and sell them. But I'll buy every one of those, and they got to be perfect condition, no slices, so 20 cents a piece. So you come every Sunday, I'll buy every Titleist you find. I developed a relationship with him over 5 weeks. I persevered. I created unstoppable determination. And now, on many Sundays, I would go there and meet him in the parking lot, and I'd get $3 before I even started. There's a value to having unstoppable determination as a 10-year-old, because even as a 60-year-old now, I still rely on that experience to drive me to do the things I think that are impossible. When I come up against obstacles and challenges and setbacks and conflict, I know that I can find a solution around that there's an opportunity within that. How about you? What is the message you have from your childhood? Did you create some unstoppable determination, or did you create more of an obstacle determination, setback determination, where you're determined to do something and you come to this obstacle and you step back and you say, oh, I can feel rejection all over this. I can feel fear all over this. I don't want to take the risk. Or have you created an unstoppable determination? In my program, Shifting Problems into Power, we're going to look at some of those limiting beliefs from your childhood, those false assumptions. And we're going to go through a process to dig those out, to pull those roots out. And we're going to make sure that we're watering the roots for unstoppable determination. So we're going to go through a process because every problem has an opportunity. Tony Robbins said this. He says, problems are a gift. Without problems, you would never grow. And do you want to grow? A lot of people would say, I'd like to have a problem-free life. Then there's no growth. Life is going to have problems. As you're taking the next step, as you're taking more challenges and more risk in your life, there's going to be obstacles. There's going to be setback. There's going to be problems. But there's going to be unbelievable possibilities, wonderful potential. And there's going to be power, emotional power in there that's going to give you this confidence that you're almost going to glow around people because they're going to see that you have unstoppable determination. So would you like to have that characteristic in your life? Come to my website, www.problems2power.com. And I have a place in there for you to share your story about unstoppable determination too. Because I want to hear those stories. We all have these stories embedded into our life. So what is making you unstoppable in your life? Thank you for sharing this time with me. And go to our website. We have other stories about unstoppable determination, and we have other educational videos too. I truly want to gift you with that characteristic of unstoppable determination in your life. Have a wonderful day.